sure our families have preventive health measures, so that our families have a way to take care of their kids, so that they're not forced to make a decision whether they have to go to work or take the kids to school. Guess what? We can do it all together. And that's it. It's working as a community. We will need to work hard together. As when we're addressing security issues within our school, it's also making sure that we do have social workers there. Our students need to have their own voices heard within the school and have someone they can trust in. And we can't do that by just having more and more law enforcement. So I appreciate it and thank you very much.
Thank you. John Serini, we have the next question. So if anyone's wondering the method to this madness, and so you have a heads up as well, the candidates are going in the order of which they arrived, and then we're going to go shift. So it'll stay the same. You're staying behind the person, so you'll follow the next person as well. Healthcare. Also, I want to let you know behind the scenes, I'm not stating the name because some of these people are employed, and several questions may be considered controversial. So in order of fairness, I'm going to keep all of the people who submitted the questions anonymous. Healthcare. Research has shown marijuana is healthier than opioids in treating pain for such diseases like multiple sclerosis and other conditions with less side effects. Would you be open to legalizing medical marijuana?
For medical purposes, I would be open to legalizing it only if you needed it for medical use. I am against legalizing it for recreation use. I believe that it is a gateway drug and that marijuana will lead to other drugs and will continue to become a bigger addiction until they get to the point where they're out of control, and you know, these kids then, or anyone who becomes addicted, can do things like commit crimes. They'll go to doctors to try to get them to prescribe illegal prescriptions. So you know, I am in favor of medical resources for the marijuana and any medical use of drugs that can cure disease or cures problems, but not for recreational use. No.
Oh, excuse me, Mark Jonah is going to come down.
Always trying to jump in front of me.
John Doyle, you're after Mark.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understand the question because...
Research, so the question came from, and I'm reading it as it was worded. Research has shown marijuana is healthier than opiates, which are prescribed, as many know, for painkillers, in treating pain for such diseases like multiple sclerosis and other conditions with less side effects. So would you be open to legalizing medical marijuana?
The reason I said I don't understand the question is because I thought we did legalize marijuana in the state of New York for medical purposes, and that was done while I was serving in Allerton. I am concerned, and this is something that impacts me and everyone else in this room and anyone that has children. I'm concerned for my two boys, 16 and 18, and the greatest fear I have is, are they going to become a statistic one day? We have more children dying from drug overdose than gun violence and automobile accidents combined. This is an epidemic. It impacts every household, regardless of your financial background, your ethnicity, or your religion. We are living in terrible times, and this epidemic is not going to go away anytime soon. We need to do more to protect the most vulnerable, and those are our children. Children as young as 12 years old are overdosing on medications that they're getting from grandma and grandpa and mom and dad, things that they find in their very homes. We have a real issue here. But as far as medical marijuana goes, we've legalized it already for that one purpose only, and I stand by that one purpose only.
Marjorie, you're after
Gene, thank you for the question. As you know, right before this event started, I came in a couple of minutes late, as I was involved in securing an naloxone training on my home community of City Island, where we've lost 6 young people in the last 2 years. This is for the opioid crisis. This is robbing the next generation. It is the most important issue we can deal with. I have a detailed plan on my website. I encourage you all to check it out, starting with having an outreach plan, something similar to SUV, to making sure that we have pharmacies where people can pick up the free naloxone in every community district that's represented as high needs. Portions of the 45th precinct and the 43rd precinct are combined one of the top 10 places for accidental drug overdoses. So it is a very serious issue. As it relates to marijuana overall, I understand what the question is. I think what the person was getting at was loosening some restrictions on marijuana policy, is what I took it as. I'm for decriminalization of marijuana. That's my position. I think that, frankly, again, I worked with the SUV program. You all know that. I had a helping role in that. The kids I come in contact with, people who are getting criminal records based on low-level offenses of marijuana, we've scarlet lettered a whole generation of children, particularly young men and women of color. It's not right. It's a barrier for them to be successful later on in life. It's not fair. It shouldn't be done this way. And frankly, I think we need to stop it. I think we need to look into it. Again, if it's being abused by younger people, obviously we need a parental involvement. I'm not for youngsters using marijuana, but it is better than the opioids that they have out there. I'm committed to helping fight the opioids. I don't think anyone should, use many controlled substances, but I am for it being used for medicinal purposes, and I am for it being decriminalized out of the criminal justice system, because as Bill Bratton said when he came to our district 2 years ago, we're not going to jail our way out of a drug problem. Thank you, guys.
The opioid crisis is real.
Yes.
It has killed a lot of our children, and it is going to continue if we don't take a stand. And taking a stand, it needs all of us joining with our community, with our 45th, 49th precinct within the district. And it's taking a stand together. It's having the different civics, having the training like John has helped organize. It is also making sure that we have alternatives like access to medical marijuana. And it is on our part to make sure that it is protected as a medical purpose only, and that our children understand the dangers of opioids. That's part of the problem, is not understanding what risks they're taking when they're taking this. And we have to let them know that there are other options in life and that they don't need to take this. There's no need for any of that. Thank you.
As the Assemblyman said, it's been legalized in New York State. Also, a small amount of marijuana has also been decriminalized in New York State. Am I for medical? Of course, I've been promoting for years. We've had some history to it. Three of the first presidents of the United States were hemp growers. It was the new crop. It was supposed to actually be the new crop. It was supposed to be competing with cotton. It was going to put us on the map there. So there's a lot of history on it. In reference to clothing, there's about 300 products you can make it. Canada's doing tremendous with the hemp products. And I do agree from medical. I mean, there's been proven medical reports of babies, children with seizures that has prevented the seizure. Apparently, marijuana is the only product that bypasses the barrier here from the mind to the body. So I do support that, not for, and I think the small amount that's been decriminalized, fine, this is society we're dealing with, let it be. Anything above that where it's drug dealers and so on, absolutely not. We're not going to legalize it that way. In reference to the abuse of opiums, we have a serious problem. We have, the state that has actually taken a position. A few years ago, you could have had 3 doctors, 3 prescriptions going to 3 pharmacies. Now there's a database. The state has a database. You cannot get controlled substance. It's a DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency, oversees it too, a prescription. So there's a lot of input into it. It's having an impact, and it's a result because, unfortunately, when we talk about drug abuse, it's not the drug person on the street. It's some of our neighbors. We have had construction, guys, and I mention construction because of the physical aspect of the industry, have gotten hurt. 3 months, the doctors put them on painkillers, opium derivatives. The next thing you know, in 6 months, it gets worse. In a year, they're full-blown out junkies. Guys that worked all their lives are raising 3 kids and paying a mortgage. So the epidemic, there are more prescription problems and prescriptions, individuals that are holding prescriptions that are hooked on drugs, on opium. And it's not a new thing. We've seen it with the veterans from World War II coming back from war. There was a serious problem with opium. The morphine is opium. You know, people don't realize that. World War I, the same thing. Opium is pain. We need it. Our society needs it. We're going to get our tooth pulled out. What do you think we're taking? The doctor gives us those controlled pills. So it's a necessity. The barrier's been crossed. It's been abusive. We need to help. We need to help those people that have worked all their lives, raised families, have had physical jobs, have gone through back surgery.
And time?
And so those are the people we need to help. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mark Jonah, to start the next question is economy. Where is city money being wasted the most in your opinion? And what major projects would you like to put money into?
The city is great at wasting money, and they don't know how to streamline much of anything. We've got billions of dollars in the pipeline that have been waiting to get into our local parks, into our communities. The city, it's in itself, inhibits the growth potential that we have. When it comes to economic growth, you know what you need to tell the city, stay out of small business. In Albany, I was approached by a small business group. I am an advocate. I come from that world. I had my own business, and I know what it means. And when they would approach me and they say, Mark, we need you to help you. We need your help as a small business group. I'd respond, the best help I can give you is by not getting involved, because anything that goes through our system just complicates it. It makes it more worse for you. We've hindered the growth of our mom and pops. Look at our commercial corridors out there. They're challenged by the big box stores. They can't compete. They can't offer the same products and services. We've lost not only the fish stand, the fruit market, the shoe repair guy. They no longer exist. The internet is the danger of all of our commercial corridors. These are the corridors that make our communities so vibrant, that make our communities so great to live and prosper and raise a family in, are in jeopardy because they can't compete. So when I get into City Hall, I'll begin an initiative. I'll not only sponsor and hope that we'll get a bid on Allerton Avenue real soon that'll help be a voice for the mom and pop shops so they can continue to thrive here and be a part of our community, but we're going to come up with a system where they start buying bulk purchases together. We all understand what that means. The more you buy, the lower the price. We're going to have our restaurants compete or pay the same price that McDonald's does for their soda, for Coca-Cola products, for paper products, for products that they use even though they compete against one another. Collectively, they can buy products, benefit from the bulk purchase program, and still keep their doors open and return that and pay a living wage. That's my initiative for the city of New York, and it'll be a model that I hope will take from the borough of the Bronx, it'll go citywide.
Thank you. John?
I tend to believe that the city is probably wasting money everywhere. If we could probably say, what are we going to cut? Let's just cut, 5-10% off every single budget, and then open up the books and see where is the money being wasted. But most likely, the real place it's being wasted is in the administration. So for instance, like I said before, in schools where you have a high school that now has 6 schools and 6 principals and 6 vice principals and 6 deans and 6 guidance counselors and all of that. And I'm sorry, these people are all great. They all deserve to have a good wage, but our children need a better education. So let's take money from the top down and let's make sure that no matter what division it is, that the people on the bottom are getting their fair shake. People who are working hard in this city, whatever level they're at, I'm sure they deserve to get paid more. But instead, just like Wall Street and all the big companies, the city is not innocent to that all their divisions have their administrators at the top, always squeezing out a bigger raise. I mean, we just saw that Mayor de Blasio gave one of his aides a 41% raise recently in the newspaper. I mean, how does this make any sense? Does any of us go into our boss and say, hey boss, I want a 41% raise. Do you get it? No way. You probably get fired before you got that. I mean, the city council last year in February, as a business owner, you know, I was happy that I was going to be making my announcement to run for council, and then all of a sudden in February of 2016 they said that the councilmen and councilwomen can no longer have outside source of income, except ironically as a adjunct professor, which Jimmy Back is, and if you have real estate. So you know, that means that as a business owner of an accounting office, a real estate office, I can no longer retrieve a paycheck from my business. So I have to sacrifice and step back from my business. And you know, but what happens? What was the trade-off? The council members agreed to give themselves a 34% raise. A 34% raise. They were making $112,000. Now they're making $148,000. The thing was, I sent messages to Backer saying, turn it down, go against it, you know, because then we can continue to have outside source of income. Now you guys can say, or people will dispute and say, well, you need to be devoted and dedicated to the city council. Absolutely, you need to be devoted and dedicated. But if you can't do two things at the same time, then I don't know if you should be a city council. You know, I think that who are they to give us the dictate that we can't do more than one thing? You know, so the thing again is we got to cut down from the top down and start cutting the administration throughout the entire city.
All right, back at it again. He was talking about the other John earlier, but you're my friend, so I didn't mind.
Did I cut him? All right, you can skip me next time.
No, you know, it doesn't bother me at all. So listen, yes, there are
We can
times.
have Lord of the Flies and you guys just fight for the microphone.
I think we'll save that for the final debate, because maybe not all of us will survive. So no, thank you guys for the question about waste in government. Obviously, it's something we need to be cognizant of, something I'm very cognizant of. I work in the public system, as many of you know. I think, more than anything else, I kind of agree with some of the comments that made, and I echo some of them. When it relates to education, if we're spending more money on consultants and upper-level bureaucracy to continuously diagnose the same problems, that's a waste of money. And again, I'm going to come back to something I said earlier. The corporate subsidies, again, I understand politicians like being at ribbon cuttings. Again, right? It's a nice photo. Sometimes they even wear a tie that matches the ribbon they're cutting. It's great. However, the corporate subsidies that are going in here are not in our long-term interest. Why was some of your tax dollars spent subsidizing Bay Plaza? It makes no sense. It's not for the long-term interest of this borough. I'm sorry. And yet, frankly, they're jobs that pay minimum wage. They're not union jobs. They're not a pathway to full-time employment. Is that a good use of your tax dollars? I say no. And frankly, more people who are in Bronx-elected politics need to start talking that way. It's not a good use of your tax dollars. That's the waste there. Again, leadership is about leading by example. I've already said I won't take the 33% pay increase. I'll probably give it to my staff. Politicians are very good about lecturing about the minimum wage, but if you ask any of my friends in government over here, they're not making six-figure salaries. And we can hire better people to serve you, the voter, the resident, the customer. Government, one thing government needs to get better at, and Chief Gomez, formerly of the Bronx Patrol, now he's like one of the 1, 2, or 3 in NYPD, was very good at saying this to me. If you're in government, you're in the complaint business. You're there to solve problems. That's why we put you there. That's what you're there to do. You're there to serve the public. That's something that I take with me every single day. Working with many of you in this room, solving problems. That's where we need to refocus our efforts in government. Thank you.
As I mentioned before, I worked at DirecTV, Latin America, managing the books for 16 different countries. So I know what it is to go into a country, look at what it needs to clean up, and to really budget and make sure that the numbers truly reflect what is going on, and make sure that everyone is getting the right access. So as a city council member, it's about going back into those agencies, looking at where our waste is, holding folks accountable, and making sure that money comes back to us. Because that's where it belongs, and we have a say. And that's why I believe in participatory budgeting. We have a say, and that's what I plan to bring in, because then you have a say, and you will vote for where your money will go. Because that's where ultimately it belongs, in your hands, your decision. And I plan to echo your voice. And when we're looking at what we can do with the money, what my priorities are, where are our kids? After school. programs for students. Our parks need to have better lighting and better accessibility for all. When we're looking at our senior centers, making sure that they are fully funded, making sure that we just don't have lunch programs, we also have activities for our seniors. A lot of the seniors I know are really active. It's about having those Zumba classes for them, that my mom is a Zumba queen, let me let you know, and we need to let everyone have the ability to have fun. We need to make sure our money reflects our community and we have a say. And I have experience with that, and I hope that you will vote for me to understand how to manage your money, because I've done that before.
Lydia?
What was the question? It seems like everyone went off. I don't know. What is specific here? I'm trying to stay on the subject matter.
Where do you feel city money is being wasted most, and what projects would you like to put money in?
Oh, very good. I thought that's what it was. I'm going to make a statement. Who remembers the old movie show, $6 Million Man? Bionic Man. Anybody remembers that? Come on. Our mayor is the $10 billion Bionic Man. In 4 years, he's increased the budget $10 billion. What have you gotten in 4 years? I haven't seen anything. And more specifically, I'll stick to one issue, the 421 credit for developers, real estate developers. It's going to cost the developers, it's going to cost the city $1.5 billion. That's a short estimate. What that means for every new building that Stag's built, and especially the one that went to White Plains Road, stood with Mr. King for affordable housing, and he turned it into a homeless shelter. Okay, he did a bait and switch, he did it to Kingsbridge Road. So I stood with Councilman King, who I congratulate Councilman King, one of the few leaders that we have in the Bronx. And I usually am not kind to politicians. The fact is that $1.5 billion is a subsidy to developers. In a matter of 7 to 12 years, the taxpayers were actually paid for that building on White Plains Road. 7 to 12 years, that building will be paid by taxpayers. Fully paid off. And then on top of that, the 12 years of subsidies and rentals. So it's a home run. It's all about developers. And then he gives us jobs. Oh, good jobs. Maybe some union jobs. He said, no, 96th Street is the borderline. Any construction before 96th Street, where for 421 plan, you must have union labor. Good, that's great. But where's all the development coming? It's coming up here in the Bronx, in Brooklyn, Queens. Non-union. Minimum wage jobs. That's what the mayor gives us. Time? I got a minute. Oh, time. Oh, time. Thank you so much.
John, go ahead. This is a small business question. New York City currently has a wonderful program for minority and women business owners. Would you support a grant for local businesses that have served the community for 20 or more years? And what other innovative plans do you have to help small business?
It's a great question. Actually, I've actually worked with the MWBE several times. Cybermania, which is a Morris Park business, they were having trouble achieving their certification, and this is a great example of the rest of us in government being customer friendly. MWBE is not always customer friendly, but if you get an advocate on your side, somebody's going to call that agency every single day asking where your paperwork is, making sure they don't apply two different standards. That's how you make a difference. You're an advocate for people when they need their liquor licenses, like Maria and Stefan, when they need their liquor license. I stood with them, I made that happen. I called up the State Liquor Authority every day for 4 months, pushing on the individual agencies. I'm not there to serve the agencies, and I really, frankly, don't give a damn if they give me a certain response. I'm there to serve the people. That's who you answer to at the end of the day. Remember where you come from. As it relates to small businesses, the most that I hear really from a lot of the businesses, frankly, where I'm from in City Island, we have 30 vacant storefronts, or when I go down to Westchester Square and I hang out with Bob Beater and others, is that the landlords have too much problem in the lease, too much power in the lease renewal process. That, listen, this is what happened with the Throgs Neck Clipper, right? We all know this. Landlord knows you're a small business. Your business is based location, location, location. Do you know who owns that location? The landlord. They know they have you over a barrel. They're not surprised. And as a result, they extort money from you. That's what happened in many of these cases. And because they can't get a fair lease renewal process, because there is no rent control for commercial tenants, they take you over the barrel. Maybe one year you get a lease, if you're good. Maybe the next year you need to pay $5,000, $6,000 under the table to get that lease. The playing field, Bernie Sanders was frequent in saying the playing field is tilted against everyone, and it is. But more so than anyone, it's the small business owner. We need to get in there. We need to have a fair lease renewal process, a 10-year lease for every small business, and binding arbitration thereafter. That's the Small Business Survival Act. That's something I would support. And again, when it comes to the individual agencies, I'll just reiterate, I'm not on the agency side. I don't want to hear the bureaucratic response. I'm there fighting for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Marjorie?
Marjorie.
Repeat the question? Sure. New York City has a program encouraging minority and women business owners. Would you support a similar grant for local businesses that have served the community for 20 or more years? And what other innovative ideas do you have for small business? I paraphrased there a little bit, but...
Okay, got it. So, a little bit about myself. My mother-in-law and her mom had 2 stores on East Tremont. It was Feathers Boutique, if any of you guys know what that was, or Barely Dressed. And unfortunately, big development called Bay Plaza Mall forced them out, forced them to close. Now we're looking at Patty's on East Tremont that shut down, and we now also have the Throw's Neck Clipper. And it's terrible because, you know what, we're forcing our mom and pop shops out. And it's about taking a stand against these large developments. I was proud to take a stand against the new Bay Plaza Mall that's being proposed. And I continue to do so because of the fact that it displaces our mom and pops. And when we're looking at MWBEs, I am proud to say that with the group Bronx Women United, who I'm a co-founder with Monica Major there in the back, we were able to get a certification for one of our members. And why? It's about working together. It's about giving a voice. This woman was struggling for 2 years with her certification. We called SBS and said, what is going on, guys? Turns out that we're just missing 1 paper. In 2 weeks it was done. That is unfortunate. That's what hurts our small businesses. And it's being their voice, and I am here to fight for them. And when we're looking about having that opportunity for our businesses that have been there for over 20 years, damn straight I'll represent it and I would support it fully. Because it's not fair what our businesses are going through on East Tremont and around here in Allerton as well. So thank you.
Virginia?
Repeat the question.
New York City has programs encouraging minority and women business owners, grants. Would you support a grant for local businesses that have served the community for 20 or more years? And what other innovative plans do you have to help small business?
I just like the way you said these.
I'm familiar with small business. They're the lifeblood of the community. At the community board, I remember making an argument over a cafe. Why was it important for the cafe to be open? Why was it important to give them their license? And I explained it to them, very simple. 9 o'clock at night, what do you have? You walk through the business district. If the stores are not open, if you don't have a cafe, if you don't have a pizzeria, if you don't have the ice cream shop, on any of these strips, Allerton, Williamsbridge Road, East Tremont, it would be deserted. No one would be there. You can't take your kids, let's go get some ice cream tonight at 9 o'clock. So what do we lose? We lose our community. We lose the town flavor of our community. So we do need small mom and pop. Do they need help? Of course they need help. This mayor who got elected criticized Bloomberg for killing small business with fines. All fines. And I remember that because 4 years ago we took the battle onto the court representing small business. We had over 60 business owners, little restaurants and pizzerias to go fight the city, and I led the charge. So I know about small businesses. Any sort of incentive program, of course. The tax incentive, we could create wonders. We do it for the real estate industry. By the way, I pick on the real estate industry because 70% of the money that they contribute goes into the politicians' pockets.